All right. What's up, Panther Nation? This is your boy, Big Brother A. I'm here with the Carolina Panther Frat House podcast, where Carolina Wit meets Gridiron Grit. You know, today is draft day, first round picks. We all getting ready, wondering who the Panthers are going to pick with the first round. We've heard a lot of different prospects linked to us. We've had, several wide receivers linked to us, have several tackles, defense, it's all over the place. Nobody knows who we're going to pick. And I don't want to get into who I think we're going to pick just yet. All right. I'm going to stream the NFL draft tonight. I'll mention that in my stream right before the draft begins. But one thing to keep in mind, if we follow the trend for the past 2 years, our pick will be someone from a top 30 visit. It'll be someone that we did a top 30 visit with. That's if we follow the trend from last year and the year before last. Basically, ever since Dan Morgan took over. So that's just something to note. Now, what I want to talk about is what I feel like some winning scenarios for us in the draft. All right. Now, for it to be a winning scenario, I'm basing this off analytics, not necessarily who I think is the best, but analytically would be a big win for us. All right. You know what? So the big thing is what I'm looking at is this player, a prospect, is above 19. All right, on PFF's big board. So these players are above rank 19. All right. Like I said, this is a winning scenario. This is basically, hey, we've got a steal with this. A big win. T-Mac. He was ranked number 4 by PFF last year. All right, we got him at 9. So that was a winning scenario. So something similar to that. Someone that PFF values really high, and we're getting them above our general draft area. All right. So let's look at some potential winning scenarios that we could actually, that could actually happen tonight. All right. So the first one, safety, Dylan Tinneman, pardon, Dylan Tinneman. Now, why is this a winning scenario? All right, so we've, recently we came out and said, hey, there's been reports that if he's available, we will pick him. This is a winning scenario, not only because PFF ranks him at 11, but when you look at their prospect model score, has a prospect model score of 9, right? Extremely high. Extremely high score. Why is that such a good thing? Based on their score analytics, he's pretty much 100% guaranteed to end up as a top 12 safety. Top 12 safety. They also doubled down and said top 24, but, more importantly, top 12 safety. All right, so you think of like the top 12 safeties in the league, based on his model score, he's going to end up in that category. When I think of top 12 safeties, I think of like Earl Thomas for the Seahawks. Top 12 safety potential. You know, then you look at his R relative athletic score. Ended with a 9.67, very high. All right, extremely high athletically. His weakness was weight. All right, at 201 pounds. Why is that not a big deal to me? Because he actually weighs the same as the safeties we already have on the team. Nick Scott, Trevon Moehrig, both are around 200 pounds. Right? Is it wrong for me to assume Dylan can put on 5 pounds? Play at 6 foot 206? And keep his same speed, grow stronger? He's already, strong enough. It's just his playing weight is technically low for his RAS score. Panther fans think, when is the last time we've had a true athlete and playmaker at the safety position? We tried with Charles Godfrey back around 2008 and 9. We tried with him. He's a cornerback. We tried to put him at safety. It didn't work out. Had Coleman for a short while. I think he had like a 6 to 8 interception season. But he wasn't an athlete. He was just a great zone safety that was holding it down at free safety. I love the flex. He used to have the flex celebration. I love that. He was only here for 2 years. Deion Grant. You want to go all the way back to 2002. This is something I feel like Panthers fans been sort of, harboring desire to, hey, let's get a safety. Let's get a true franchise safety. And this would be our opportunity. Now, in the draft, you're not sure he's going to get past the Vikings. The Vikings pick right before us. They actually have a need for safety as well. A need for safety. So, could he fall to us? I believe he still could. Because the Vikings also have other needs. All right, they got needs at corner. They could try to make the pick for offense. Try to get another wide receiver or do something to make it easier for J.J. McCarthy. They do have Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver, but hey, they could try to get Kenyon Sadiq, tight end. Hey, let's try to make it as easy as we can for J.J. McCarthy. But when I look at his score, I look at his strengths. One of his strengths is just playmaking ability from single high safety. Like I said, we've been trying to put Nick Scott back there, single high safety. Dylan can play that. That's one of his strengths. He can play that position and also be flexible enough to come down to help against the run. For our safeties, Nick Scott, his final PFF score wasn't as bad as what fans would note of Nick Scott. That's mostly because of his, believe it or not, pass defense. His run defense wasn't as well, but his pass defense was okay. I don't think it was that good. I think Nick Scott, he just resigned with us for cheap. I think we could replace him easily with a great player. So this would be a winning scenario. This would solidify the defense. It would make our secondary, could potentially make our secondary elite. I can't remember the last time we had a safety with, like I said, since maybe Charles Godfrey, with just top straight line speed. This would be a wonderful pick. Let's go to the next player. So this is going to be a little surprising. All right, but Ruben Bain. All right, listed the edge. I put defensive end. Why would he be a winning pick? All right, the lowest scores we've had for last year were at linebacker and D line. All right, had all the bottom five scores with 3 linebackers, 2 D linemen. All right. Offseason, we've signed 2 linebackers. All right, 2 starters. All right, Jalen and Devin Lloyd. All right, so we're trying to fix that. What about D-line? We actually let go of one of our better players, A'Shawn Robinson. So why not add, not to replace A'Shawn Robinson, but actually to help out and replace Tershawn Wharton. Wharton was our lowest rated player from PFF. Now, I know he was injured, but still, he was our lowest rated player for PFF. Ruben Bain, PFF rank is 5. All right, top 5 player from the big board. Now, why would he fall? There's just concerns about, potential character concerns. He also, this report came out about car accident in 2024. Got cited, said caused the accident for a lady who did not die immediately, but passed away, I believe, 3 or 4 months after the accident. But he only got cited with reckless driving. So we don't know the story. We don't really know the story with that. So we don't know if he hit her or if he was driving reckless and, she tried to do some defensive driving and ended up crashing into something. We don't know. Or I should say, I don't know. But, some concerns like that. So that could cause him to fall. Also, he's smaller than what he was already small in college, but he's smaller than even what draft pundits thought he would be when he officially got measured at the combine. I believe he didn't even really participate in the combine. He was listed at 6'3", 270. He's actually 6'2", 263. All right. But I don't think that's a problem. Okay, we signed Tershawn Wharton at 6'1", 280. Okay, another hit. Okay, his arms are extremely small. Short, I should say. His short arms, less than 31-inch arms. All right, and statistically, that fares bad for players with arms that short. But when you look at his prospect model score, like I said, using analytics, this is what the Panthers front office is really big on. He still has a really high prospect model score, 8.88. All right, over 50% of edges. Boom. With this high of a prospect model score. I got a graph showing how he measures in run defense and pass defense, both elite. All right, I believe he's graded the highest player defender in college. Right, so he's good against the pass and run defense. Why is he a winning pick? Because he could come in and help the D-line. D-line was a weakness. All right, I think we can find a run defender to replace Ashawn Robinson. I think Bobby Brown and Cam Jackson, who we drafted last year, can potentially replace Ashawn Robinson. Right? We drafted Cam Jackson. We also, like I said, had a top 30 pick last year, and we drafted him. A top 30 visit, excuse me, and we drafted him. We drafted him to be a good run defender. All right? He didn't play much last year. Give him some more playing time this year. Okay? Cam Jackson is a huge guy, like 6'6", 330, 340. He can be the run defender. Who's going to give us pass rush from the D-line position? All right, we haven't had that since K'Wan Short. We're going to the 3-4. We need that D tackle that can hold it down, run defense, but still offer some pass rush ability. And that's where Ruben Bain comes in. All right. Despite his short arms, extremely productive pass rusher, extremely productive run defender. He can definitely end up bigger than Tershawn Wharton, who we signed. Okay, he's already taller by an inch. He's 263. If he gets up to 280, he's bigger than Tershawn Wharton. Do you want to, let's get him at 280. I say maybe 275, but 280. 280 is fine. There you go. Like, hey, let's get the billet. And hey, they can swap out until he takes over. I think he can start immediately. I think Tershawn Wharton would be better as a rotational D lineman. All right, his production scoring college is extremely high. So imagine getting the 5th ranked PFF ranked player at 19th draft spot. All right, that's a winning scenario. All right, and this has nothing to do with his playing ability, but he sort of has the look like, hey, I've had a hard life. His hairline is already heading back. Just like the dad from Good Times, like, hey, listen, don't mess with me. All right, I'm already working this plant job. He has that type of look. Like, that's what I want, man. I want someone nasty. I want someone that can, relentless. Also, keep in mind, Dan Morgan, when he was talking about Ruben Bain, he said, we have a similar mindset. All right? So he was saying because he knows that Ruben Bain has a similar mindset to him, that drafting him would be a no-brainer. He actually stated this. Getting a player like him would be a no-brainer. Dan Morgan wants the dog mentality. All right? Ruben Bain is relentless. All right? His motor is one of his strengths. Dan Morgan wants more dogs on the team. This is one right here. He's going to put the effort on the field. So, winning scenario. Ruben Bain. Could he fall to us? Maybe. I've seen some analysts, they said, hey, he's not getting past 10. All right? Even with all this stuff, he's not getting past 10. Hey, maybe, listen. Maybe he drops down, but that would be a winning scenario for us. So those just two I wanted to go over. I was looking at some of the other players. I just don't believe they'll be able to fall to us. Like, Sonny Styles, love his potential. I don't think he's going to fall to. I don't think he's going to. His combine with his just, production, just, his potential is just way too high. Looking at some of the tackles, is getting a tackle a winning scenario? Not necessarily, no, because then, you got a big choice whether tackle's going to start or Lee Walker's going to start. What are you going to do with Icky? You know, you have to, it's a whole lot of questions you have to ask yourself right after. Wide receiver, the same way. Draft a wide receiver. What are you going to do with Xavier Leggett? I don't consider those winning scenarios. So, just those two I wanted to go over. It's draft day. I'm about to go hit the gym. Try to get my mind focused. And like I said, I'm going to stream the draft tonight. And on the side, I'm going to have a list of all the players from my top 30 visits. And I'm going to put these 2 winning prospects on there. And then I'm also put the 3 prospects I said we should stay away from. Now, 2 of them are on the 30 visits, so I might just try to, highlight it red or something. But I'm going to have the whole list there. And I'm confident we're going to pick somebody from this list. So, Panther fans, I want you to ask yourself, who would really help our team? What would be a winning scenario? I think you build the defense to be elite and the offense just have, Dave Canales giving up play calling duties. Just have Brad Isnick make the offense decent. That's all it has to be, decent. We were terrible on third down. Okay, Bryson offense is still a bottom third offense. Can we get to 14th ranked offense? I'll take it. 14th, 13th, 12th. Hey, even though we signed, even though we brought in Dave Canales to be an offensive guru, if Brad can get our offense to if they can get our offense to just, I'll say, bottom of the top third, that's a win for this year, next season. But if you do that, the defense, if you want to be a Super Bowl challenging team, if you do that, then our defense needs to be elite. All right? Defense needs to be top 5. And with these 2 potential prospects, that gives us a chance for our defense to be elite. So that's what I see as the winning scenarios. Elite defense, productive offense. That's where I see it. So, Panthers fans, comment and say, give your opinion. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Just remember to like and subscribe. All right. All right, guys. Quick video, but just wanted to put this out there, and I'll see you guys tonight. Big Brother A heading out.